Welcome to day 3 of our menopause challenge, where we're looking at our genes and our genetic beliefs, which we inherit from our ancestors, our past lives, and our environment, and doing some energetic clearing work around this because it is World Menopause Week. So let's just start by doing our opening prayer. Feel free to ask your own questions on your own for your own personal health journey, or if you know somebody that's going through something, please feel free to ask questions about that as well. And please don't get triggered by any genes or those kinds of more scientific words, or the nutritional side. They work hand in hand with the metaphysical aspect, which is what we're going to be looking at today. So if you're here to say hello, it's nice to touch base with you all. Let's start with our opening prayer. Hello. O great Spirit, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the winds, the waters, my Father, my Mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives, and we thank you for these good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to you. We ask that our suffering be ended and our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, Amen. Namaste. Okay, so one of the biggest reasons why I'm focusing on genes and the genetics of menopause is because, believe it or not, right, the rate of inheriting your menopausal symptoms and conditions is between 30 to 80%. So if you hit perimenopause quite early in your late 30s, etc., then it's about 30% chance that it was inherited and 80% chance that it was environmental. But if you hit menopause between the ages of 40 to 45, all the way through 50, there's an 80% chance that your symptoms are inherited, which shows you just how much we are still unconscious about the menopausal journey, and also how much we are what's the word? Carrying the ancestral patterns and the past life patterns and the collective consciousness patterns, instead of actually creating our perimenopause and menopausal journeys consciously. And this is so important. Why? And there's been history after history after history of people basically saying, oh, it's just hormones, kind of like it's just puberty. But imbalanced hormones, particularly around menopause, increase your risk of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, neurological problems, including dementia, Alzheimer's, foggy brain, sexual dysfunction, and also leaky gut, because estrogen actually controls how thin or how thick your skin is as well, not just on your face, but actually inside your gut. So too much estrogen or too little estrogen directly contributes to your ability to process and digest food. So there's nothing just about hormones and about using adaptogenic herbs and healing our belief systems so that we can go through this in an empowered and balanced way. All of us deserve unconditional health. All of us deserve to be able to connect with our divine health, and to heal the parts of us that have been forgotten or that have too much going on. Hi, Mila. And that's the more that you understand a process, the more that you are in harmony with it, the less you are afraid of it. And that's also a big part of why I think menopause has become so traumatic for women. Is the same reason that periods have been so traumatic for women, is that there's a silence around it. It's a taboo topic. Because women aging, it's the same way women hide their age. Women hide that they're in menopause. Why? Because not just people treat them differently, but they lose work opportunities. They're less likely to get dates. And the number of women in dating apps, who say that men turn them down because they say they're over 40, etc. This is for real. The unconscious bias is for real. Hi, Maria. It's nice to have you here. The unconscious bias towards women who get older is for real, which is why menopause is hidden and not talked about. But that's no different than periods being hidden and not talked about. And what that leads to is women believing that the symptoms that they're experiencing, hot flushes, are very easy to mistake for panic attacks and heart attacks, right? Aches and pains and osteoporosis are easy to mistake for chronic illness instead of hormonal imbalance. So there's a lot of fear and panic that comes from not knowing. This is one of those areas where ignorance is not bliss. Okay, ignorance is not bliss. That's why we are doing this challenge, and that's why we're doing the masterclass tomorrow. if you'd like to join us to go deeper. Okay. From a metaphysical perspective, menopause is that transition from that mother archetype into the matriarchal archetype, which is the archetype of, queen mother instead of queen, and shifting into this sage archetype where we are nurturing the community as well as ourselves and making sure that our legacy is sustained as we move forward, right? What are the beliefs that come up around the genes? Okay, so I'm just going to start off by telling you what the genes are, and here's my notes from earlier. Boom, 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 boom. So, several unique genes were identified in studies around genetics and how they're connected to menopause. Hello, guys. If you write your, I'm streaming to 4 channels right now. So if you write your name on the post, then I can see it. Unless you click yes, I'll be able to see your message, but not necessarily your name. Okay. But you can just write your name in the actual comment. You don't have to agree to anything for me to be able to know who you are. So several unique genes were identified. One is called ESR1, ESR2. So those are your estrogen creating hormones. CYP1B1. Gosh, you can tell how they name things, right? BRSK1, HK3, and TMEM15OB. And they're all associated with early menopause. And basically the research being focused on our predisposition to what they call, this is how traumatic these words are, ovarian failure, which is not what menopause is. Menopause is not about ovarian failure. It's about the transition from life being about reproducing and producing things in the world to life being about receiving and sharing the things that you've already produced, right? It's no different than the planting season versus the harvest season. Life has seasons and so does our body, but there's no failure going on. It's just a transformation or a transition going on. So let's just start by commanding a gene activation and harmony rebalancing, okay, for all of the different genes that are active too early or being triggered by stress, by diet, by environment, by um, birth control, or by collective consciousness. Is that okay? Just say yes if you'd like that. Oh, and we're going to bring in Archangel Raphael and his band of mercy and creator of all that is. So just do that work now. Okay. And as I'm scanning you guys, the first belief that's coming up really strong that the creator is showing me that we need to clear is that life is over. So can I pull the belief that life is over when you hit menopause? I can replace it with, I am changing the season of my life. And just as all the seasons are beautiful, so are all the seasons of my life. My life, and then I know the difference between my life being over and my life changing. Just say yes if you'd like that. Okay, and now the angels are showing me financial fears around menopause. The belief that you haven't made enough, that you're not prepared, that you're never going to have the abundance that you want in your life, or the success or the recognition. So can we just release all of those fears? And can Creator show you there's no limit connected to age and success and recognition? You just have to look at Louise Hay, right? To know that there's so many women, Doreen Virtue, that only became successful after their 40s. There we go. Ooh. And that your financial abundance is actually even stronger when you tap into that matriarchal line. So anywhere where you are tapped into this energy of motherhood or maidenhood archetypes, instead of being tapped into the matriarch and the sage, Can we unplug you from those and plug you into the highest version of the matriarch and the queen mother archetype and the sage, so that you're able to fully step into your power financially, mentally, emotionally, and into your place as the female head of the family, right? There we go. Ooh. Okay. And Leah's saying, I'm so angry and resentful that my spring and summer were so trauma filled and gave all my energy, time, and resources away. Leah. So there's a lot of trauma around not being properly stewarded in our maidenhood and in our mothering days, not having the proper protection from our families, from our men, and from the community. There's a very big lack of protection for women in particularly in Western society and in a lot of Middle Eastern cultures as well. So anywhere where that rage is coming up, I'm getting Archangel Michael coming in so strong here and Archangel Jeremiah. They want to help anybody that's stuck in this. So can we just pull out the rage at other people and the seeds of bitterness? Ooh. And the anger, our inability to forgive ourselves for wasting that much time. So for me, what came up, particularly around my son being born, is that I missed so much of his early life because I hadn't understood my worth before he was born. And I only understood my worth when I moved into the mother archetype. For all the work on worthiness that I did, it was only the shift into the archetype that really made me realize that this is for real. And if I didn't get my stuff sorted out, I was going to financially traumatize my son, right? But because I hadn't sorted out sooner, I was so angry at myself because I had all the knowledge and all the wisdom. And this is actually the Eve archetype. So you know the story of Eve where she eats the apple from the tree of knowledge? That story represents the part of us that knew better but didn't do better, that we struggle to forgive and that we believe is responsible for all of our misdeeds or misdoings. So anywhere where you are refusing to forgive the part of you that knew better but didn't do better, whether it's choosing better partners, making better decisions, knowing your worth, working harder or working less, whatever it is, whether it's getting sick, whether it's, whatever it is that's coming up, can we release that now? There we go. And we're just going to send so much forgiveness straight from Archangel Jeremiah to the part of you that knew better but didn't do better. And that part of you that's taking your self-trust, your trust of others, your trust of God. And that this part of us, this Eve part of us that knows better but doesn't do better, it's teaching us compassion, because true change takes time, practice, dedication, and the willingness to fail, right? Because it's not a when you will fail. It's not if, it's a when and how badly. And if you give up on yourself when you fail, it's normally a mirror of our parents having given up on us when we failed. But God never gives up on you when you fail, right? You can see it through every biblical story. Poor Moses ended up in the desert for almost, 30 years. Um, Jesus went into the garden to meditate and begged God to find someone else that could be crucified instead of him, right? Every person that has served God has failed, and not failed a little, like spectacular failures. So can we release this? Hi, Bettina. So can we release this part of us? Love your crystal ring. This is from my grandma. She passed away, but she was my favorite grandma. I only started wearing it again a couple of days ago because it's so it's a little bit big, but it's from my grandma, and she's helping me find the courage to do what needs to be done. And there's a lot that needs to be done. So I'm glad you like it. Okay, let's just release all of this. Oh, grief for a life and time lost and all the regret. So this is where the theta healing exercise of writing down 100 resentments, 100 rejections, 100 regrets can come in and be really good. So I encourage you to write it down if you're really struggling with regret, and I see a lot of you are, and I'm just going to release it now. So if you want to do this exercise afterwards and then just say yes and it will be released, I'm going to witness 100 or creators showing me like 1,000 resentments, 1,000 rejections, 1,000 regrets. I'm going to witness that being released from everybody that wants it. So just say yes. This makes me feel better about my own spectacular failures. Yeah. You will feel mortified. You will feel like you should quit. You will feel like you should not go on. You will feel like you're not ready, not qualified. The fear mind, the ego will try everything to destroy your divine life purpose after a failure because it knows you're at your weakest. And you really have to focus on the fact that you were built to withstand. You were built to be resilient, and that everybody from, Mother Mary, who, failed to be married before she got pregnant, to, you know, to Moses, to Jesus, to every single ascended master that's ever lived, even our more modern spiritual teachers. Doing Virtue was a weed addict. um you know Louise Hay was in toxic and abusive relationships her whole life. So all of us have these places where we have this person that we're becoming, but we're not there. And these failures hurt us and they break our trust in ourselves. But they also give us this unconditional compassion for other people when they fail. And it's what makes community possible. It's what makes long-term romantic and intimate relationships possible. It's what makes us being there and watching our kids struggle and fail possible. So it's a very this Eve archetype of not being able to forgive the part of us that knew better but didn't do better is a very powerful archetype to work through. Okay, there we go. It's moving. Oh, and some heartbreak coming up here as well. So we're just going to bring in Archangel Shamuel and the Romance Angels and release the regret at having loved. Ooh, and the grief, gosh. Just say yes. I need you to breathe. Some of you actually are so dissociated from your heart or from your womb. I'd like you to actually just place your hands on them and give them a little rub. There we go. Just reconnecting, breaking that dissociation for me a bit. Okay, so the angels are asking me to talk to you guys a bit about courage. And courage, Osho wrote an incredible book on courage that helps me every single time I get into self-doubt or I start wondering, if, I'm supposed to even be on this planet, or if I'm just, here for an insane reason, or if anything I do actually ever makes a difference, right? Because we all have those moments. But Osho's book on courage goes really, really deep. And very often emotions like anger, emotions like regret, all of those emotions are there to give us the courage to overcome the trauma, change our habits, and not make the same mistake again. And it's a very difficult thing for most people to have, because most people, especially women, deeply doubt all of our decisions and choices. And that means we have an inordinate amount of regret and also an inordinate amount of doubt, because whatever we do, we often believe it's the wrong choice, right? And we do it to other women as well. And we do it to men as well. We're always like, how could this have been better? We're comparing real life to the ideal life, right? And this constant comparison leads to a lot of unhappiness and a lot of unrealistic perfectionistic thinking, but also to a lot of very harsh judgments and critical thinking. So it's only really from disconnecting from that and stepping into the vulnerability of knowing that people fail and that we fail on a daily basis, and that this is where Course in Miracles and Marianne Williamson really helped me. Nobody gets up in the morning intending to fail, intending to shout at you or to be critical or to be judgmental, or to screw up your life or to disappoint you. It's a fall from grace for a reason, right? So can we just release the belief that people are trying to piss you off on purpose? There we go. And can we show you the truth? That people are doing the best that they can, and that growth is hard and it requires a lot of compassion and practice and resilience, and that everyone has their own unique curriculum, so that it's much as it's easy to judge from the outside, it doesn't mean that you actually know what they're learning or what they're growing into, or what God's plan is for them. And that's one of the hardest things to surrender to, but also one of the things that will bring you the most peace, especially in my marriage and with my son and with students, and is that you don't know God's plan for the situation. And you just have to trust that whatever the curriculum brings up is there for a reason. And that's the part of the mystery of God. It's the mind of the greatest creator in the universe. But you don't know. And it takes a lot of humility to go, I don't know what God has planned for this situation. I have no idea. I'm just going to keep following my divine guidance and not move from it. Because that's the temptation, is that when you are uncertain, you start looking outside of yourself for advice, and you stop asking God, and then the communication become distorted. And hormones, our estrogen, our progesterone, all of that is a reflection of our communication, right? So when our communication becomes distorted and we're taking advice from people who have no idea what our divine curriculum is and have no idea what God's plan for us is, then it really manifests as very distorted hormonal thinking, or the absence from the divine in our life, right? Which is often the absence or deficiency of different hormones in our life. So anywhere where you started asking everyone and your auntie for advice instead of making time to ask God what to do, can we show you? And everywhere where somebody received different divine guidance than what you thought they should receive, right? Made a different decision than what you thought that they should make. Can we forgive them or release them as much as is possible now? And download you with Creator's perspective, definition, understanding of the virtue of grace, the virtue of the courage to be inside the unknown and to keep connecting with Creator, keep connecting with Creator, keep connecting with Creator. It goes back to that. There's a beautiful poem. Beautiful poem that says, I want to know what you ache for. And if you dream of meeting your heart's longing, I want to know if you'll betray another to be true to yourself. It's Oriah the Mountain Dreamer. There we go. It's come from me. So this energy of being willing to be misunderstood so that you can finally figure out who you are and figure out what your unique curriculum is. There we go. Okay. So I'm just doing another quick scan. So anywhere where you have negative futures, where imbalanced hormones have created cardiovascular disease, depression, neurological problems, sexual dysfunction, osteoporosis, or leaky gut, can we discreate those futures now? Would that be okay? Just breathe. Okay, and can we unplug you from the collective consciousness? The genetic collective consciousness, the perimenopausal collective consciousness, the menopausal collective consciousness, the postmenopausal collective consciousness, the medical collective consciousness, and plug you in to the divine consciousness of your health, of your well-being, of your body's unique health blueprint. I'm feeling that coming over us in waves. Archangel Raphael is doing some serious work on the courage to keep loving. A lot of you have lost the courage to keep loving and you're hiding. You're actually dissociated and you're not letting yourself have deep feelings anymore, because of so much heartbreak. And there's actually empty nest syndrome as well. It's not just losing the love of intimate partners. Creator's showing me it's losing the love of children too. So let's send so much unconditional love and courage to your heart, right? The French word for heart is actually cœur, which comes from the word courage. So can we activate the divine courage in your heart, please? And the divine courage gene in your body? And download you with Creator's perspective, definition, understanding of courage, how to be courageous, when to be courageous, that it's possible to live courageously. And the definition of emotional courage. Okay, that's looking super good. That's looking super, super good to me. So the other thing about genes, and if you read the biology of belief or you study epigenetics in any way, there was the belief for thousands of years that genes were unchangeable. And then along comes Bruce Lipton and teaches us that genes are 100% switch on and offable by your environment, by your diet, and by your emotions. And it was a lady called Candace Pert who wrote a book called Molecules of Emotion that discovered that you could change your emotions and also your ability to receive them, so your emotional receptors, with the thoughts that you think. But there was a biochemistry to emotions, and she was able to track down scientifically what emotions look like biologically, which was a huge shift, because obviously we had an ability to track hormones but no ability to understand which hormones created what emotions until her work came along. So anywhere where you have toxins in your body that are creating imbalances on a genetic level, can we release those now? Oh, okay. And Creator's really showing me that sage, coriander, and ginger shots, along with something like red clover or Agnus castus, is going to be a real game changer for somebody that's listening. So I would really, really think about, fresh ginger is so easy to get from any supermarket. So is coriander, and they're heavy metal detoxers. So if you think of all the years that we get aluminium from our deodorant and things like that, it's going to help you get rid of those in 3 to 6 months if you start, taking it on a daily basis. And it's such a simple heavy metal intervention to do. Oh, and Creator's also showing me somebody's got really achy breasts going on. So can I send a healing to all of our breasts? Anybody that's having hormonal imbalance or in their lymph system or in their chest because their genetics have been distorted. Can we just release that now? Okay, and now I'm getting pulled into the ancestral trauma. So I'm just going to ask Creator what beliefs we have to work on here. Okay. So the belief that I'm getting that needs to be cleared from the ancestors is I've been forgotten. So this energy of isolation and just being left to grow old, or being left to die in isolation. So can we release any inherited trauma that comes from being left in old folks' homes, being left in abbeys, or that's what happened to a lot of queen mothers. They were just sent to the abbey when the new queen came along. So anywhere where um, you inherited this belief of being discarded. Oh, just release that loneliness from the genes. And this energy of being used. And also of being underestimated. Oh, disrespected or being made to be a servant. So that's the other thing that tends to happen, is that as we get older, the way that we serve the family can completely change. So it can change by us stepping into the matriarchal role, or it can change by us stepping into, almost being a nanny or a housekeeper and stuff for our children. Um, or it can change by them, being very far away and us struggling with how they're dealing with, the new roles that they're supposed to be dealing with. So anywhere where you're feeling that you're used financially, and this happens a lot, you see how much children often are waiting for parents, etc., to pass away so they can inherit the money. So anywhere where that's happening, can we release that on an ancestral level too? Anywhere where you're blocking financial increase or success because you are afraid that it will cause family disharmony or problems with your children when you pass on, can we release that too? Okay, Mila saying, what to do with hair coloring and chemicals that are inside and going through the hair inside of the brain? I know it's not a subject, but I feel and believe it's affecting my hormonal immune system. Yeah, it 100% does affect your hormonal and immune system. If you, I would really recommend at this stage switching to more natural hair colors, things like henna, and to hair products that don't have ammonia in them, and coloring your hair in a color that's more natural to you, or using natural hair colorants. There's quite a few, especially from China, and I'll see if I can find a link. I'm not sure about the name of this one, but that kind of um, basically reverse your gray hair. There's actually a few herbs that do that as well. But the more you can switch to natural hair products, the better. So let's just ask Creator to dissolve anything that you've absorbed into your brain via makeup, via hair dye, via cleaning products that you may be using on a daily basis. For the love of God, use gloves. It drives me insane because I know how dangerous and how toxic these chemicals are. The number of women that I see picking up those Dettol wipes without gloves, and it takes 22 seconds for that shit to go into your bloodstream. Okay, you don't deserve that. Please use gloves. Okay, I know it feels funny and weird. I know nobody likes wearing plastic gloves, but trust me, those chemicals are not messing around. So I'm just going to get Archangel Raphael to come in and start dissolving any chemicals you've absorbed from soap, from actual detergents for house cleaning products and stuff as well. Please, I'm begging you, use gloves. And I'm going to get the angels to kind of bless your gloves, right? And your cleaning products so that you're not angry or resisting, and you're actually able to do what's best for you. Open windows when you're washing bathrooms and hoovering, and you don't want that dust, that lead from paint, those chemicals um, in your lungs. Okay, so can we pull that out of the lungs as well? Okay, so um, Biljana is saying, hi Sky, I'm really suffering. Once my menstruation stopped, lower back pain, sciatica. Could you help me with this issue? Yep, I'm sending you so much healing. I'm sending you so much healing right now. And can we just release the ancestral trauma of not being supported? There's a lot of beliefs around aging that's like, well, you're over the hill, so it's not worth going back to university. It's not worth investing in you. It's not worth starting your own business. It's kind of like this idea of going peacefully or quietly into the night, which is never going to be who I am. Um, so can we just release that you're not worth the investment, you're not worth the investment, you're not worth the believing in or the effort because you've gone into menopause. There we go. Thanks for saying this about the gloves. I was actually thinking the same thing. Yeah, the gloves. Seriously, wear the gloves. If it helps, get gloves with angel wings on them, or rainbows that are buy gloves are like pink, but for the love of God, wear your gloves. Like please, 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 please wear your gloves. I'm begging you. I'm not above begging. Please wear your gloves. It will give you decades on this planet that don't cause problems. And endocrine blockers are not a joke. This is where things like bentonite clay, zeolite clay, activated charcoal are miracle workers, but you still have to take them for 3 to 6 months to get all the stuff out of your system. And it doesn't work if you're dipping your hand in fairy liquid every day. Please, please, please wear gloves. There we go. Okay, that's looking a lot better. I'm just asking the angels if there's anything else they'd like us to do today. Okay, so the last thing they want me to say to you from a nutritional perspective, especially around the back pain, is that magnesium and zinc are at the core of how we create DHEA and insulin. So um, when you're low in DHEA and insulin, a lot of other hormones, particularly your sex hormones, etc., are made from those base hormones. Okay, so the angels are showing me, particularly with the back pain and the osteoporosis, there's a really big missing link with the magnesium. I use a really good magnesium called magnesium 365. I will link it in the comment section below. But it's same thing, 3 times a day, morning, lunch, a dinner or bedtime, and you really want to be this is going to help with the detoxing as well, because magnesium helps you go to the loo. Okay, you can also use magnesium malate. So magnesium citrate is the one that helps you go to the loo and the one that we use for more of our hormones. But magnesium malate helps the mitochondria in our cells and gives us more energy. So if you're struggling with exhaustion, magnesium malate is a very good one to take. There's more than 10 types of magnesium, by the way. So if you want to Google that, and you can even muscle test which one is the best one for you to take right now. Okay, Samantha here. I'm in early menopause from chemo and breast cancer. I was told that I have the BRCA1 gene mutation, which means that my doctors want me to remove my ovaries. I absolutely don't want to do that. I have multiple ovarian cysts. Can you talk about how to help ourselves with these types of genetic issues and ovarian cysts besides just cutting them out of our bodies? Okay, so just so it's clear, I'm not allowed to give medical advice, but I am allowed to tell you hypothetically what would be the best places to begin. So, True North Health Clinic, if you haven't heard of them, go find them. They run an online education and TV center. So you can just go onto their website. It's called the True North Health Clinic, and they educate you on all the best detoxing processes, fasting processes, nutritional processes, completely for free. And if you want to do fasting for reversing cysts, tumors, cancers, they are doctor supervised and scientific research backed, and they back their own medical research. So there's no pharmaceuticals, etc., funding their research around healing without medical intervention or the removal of organs. One of the biggest, strongest arguments for not removing organs, and I say argument because I am for medical emancipation, and if you're on a journey, I will support you on whatever path you choose. I believe this whole reality is an illusion and that your health is not dependent on the path you choose to wellness. Okay. I believe that your health is dependent on your desire to live and your connection with a higher power. So I've seen people completely get better through the chemo path, and I've seen people completely get better through the natural health path. And I believe it's them believing that they are receiving the best care possible that really kicks in. You know, it's like Joe Dispenza, you are the placebo, right? That's what I believe. So I have no, even though I as a soul prefer the natural way, I have no judgment towards people that prefer the more medical route. Just so you know, I'm not anti-medical establishment at all. So True North Health Clinic is where I would begin knowledge-wise and methodology-wise. Gerson therapy has been around for almost 150 years, and it's got an amazing record for reversing these diseases. Over 1,000, I think almost 15,000 case studies they have. And they've been around since post First World War almost. And theirs is another protocol that you can use completely from home. And that involves using coffee enemas and other shifts in nutrition to completely reverse diseases. One of the things that's really important to look at when you're dealing with cancers or anything that's genetic is that detoxing too fast, particularly after your liver and your kidneys have been under a lot of pressure, is just as dangerous as not detoxing at all. So you need some kind of supervision to go through that process. Gerson Therapy offer that for free. True North Health Clinic offer a free online consultation as well with the doctors. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, so it's a different space. But for starters, from a metaphysical perspective, can we just start by closing the gene? Just commanding Creator to close the Barako gene for you as well. There we go. And can we also show you that you are safe and that you're allowed to make every hand that touches you a healing hand? Now, removing body parts doesn't protect you from a disease, right? The body part did not create the disease. So when and I've had people come to me with half their colons removed, um, you know, half their colons removed, their breasts removed, their womb removed, and still struggling with the disease because the organ is not at fault. It's not the root of the problem, and neither is the gene, right? The root of the problem is emotional, environmental trauma that needs to be addressed and removed, and the body needs to be given space to recalibrate and renew. So if you want to remove organs, etc., that's completely okay, but you will still have like phantom organs and the energy of them will still be there, so they'll still need to be energetically cleared. And that it's not a guarantee of health, right? So the medical profession would have us believe that removing our breasts or removing ovaries is a guarantee of health. It's not, right? There are no guarantees in health. Let's start there. Everything has a risk. So when you are going to live the consequences of the medical risks that you take, you deserve to make that decision yourself. So anywhere where doctors are frightening you into making medical decisions, or people, family members are frightening you into doing what they want you to do, can we just cut those cords and take back your power now? That'd be okay? Oh, there we go. Anywhere where you feel like you're disappointing people or letting them down by going a different way, or where you're already under enough stress because of the disease and your family is putting even more pressure on you and there's so much anger and resentment, can we release that now? Bubba's awake from the nap. Okay. I'm just going to send a really deep instant healing to you. Feel free to DM me, Samantha, if you would like a bit more help. I'm happy to help as much as I can and to actually send you the links. Okay, I'm going to leave Archangel Raphael and his band of healing angels with you and ask them to also pull in the right people, the right situations to guide you on your path. Mila's saying, oh, thank you so much for talking about menopausal symptoms and state of mind. It's such a taboo. It is such a taboo. And even with me talking about it, there was so much stuff around, you have to be going through it. And you guys know me, I believe in the metaphysical perspective. So these labels around disease, I find so hard because I don't think, I don't think they serve, but whatever, it helps us have a container within which we can discuss specific symptoms. When it comes to discussing menopause, we are talking about hormonal imbalance and hormonal deficiency and our bodies and how they function. I completely believe in every single fiber and every single cell and every single one of my genes and my very soul at my very core that you create your body and that you are capable of creating whatever you desire to create. It's just that most of us created our later years, our autumn and our winter, from the mind of a child. And when we created it, we did what everybody else was doing because we thought it was inevitable. So if you haven't consciously created health for your old age or for your autumn and winter seasons, please create health, beauty, strength, motivation, purpose. Create it now. Do not wait, right? It's much easier to create things from a place of power, from a place of peace, than to be trying to recreate things that you've already created in a negative way. Because when we create things from an unconscious place, we tend to create things that we don't want, and we also tend to validate our deepest fears because we're creating from an unconscious place. So if you haven't consciously created your menopause journey, get out your nice sparkly journals, right? Oh, you can't see my journal, not sure why. And start writing what you want for this journey through menopause, what you want for the autumn and winter seasons of your life. Start creating it from a loving and conscious place. Mila Singh also wanted to ask if hormonal menopause is connected to losing so much hair very quickly for less than 1 year, and what to do also. So it is connected. Estrogen doesn't just affect the thickness of your skin, it affects the thickness of your hair. And you can see that when women are pregnant. And that's why often after the pregnancy is true, the pregnancy is past and we're postpartum, we suffer so much hair loss. It's also profoundly connected with stress, right? And the insomnia that hits during menopause, the financial worries, the belief that all the regrets, and the feeling like you don't really belong in society, particularly the ads and the marketing all being geared towards younger women, all the unconscious bias, it puts a lot of unconscious strain on us. One of the things I really recommend that you start doing, whatever age you are, is a scalp massage. So take a little bit of rosemary essential oil, some coconut oil, and start massaging your scalp and your face every night. It's going to reduce the wrinkles by a huge amount. It's going to get your hair to grow faster and quicker. It's going to what's it called? Get you back connected with yourself because you're touching your body and not from a sexual place. But rosemary has been scientifically proven to be more effective than most medical hair regrowth creams. So rosemary is amazing, and I often do rosemary and lavender and sage and massage that straight into my scalp. Using silk hair caps are also amazing for growing your hair and stopping it from being damaged when we sleep, but they also let the oil really sink into the scalp, and that gives us that really beautiful undamaged shiny hair. A lot of the breakage that you see on top of people's hairs is from your pillow, right? It's not from anything else, and we lose an average of 1,000 hairs a night on the bed sheets, never mind actually inside the shower. And the other thing that you can do is iodine. So iodine is directly connected to loss of eyesight, loss of hair, a thyroid dysfunction, hormonal dysfunction. I think it's Lynn McTaggart wrote an amazing book on iodine deficiency and all the number of symptoms that come through. The same thing is true for vitamin E deficiency. So I would a vitamin E oil or an almond oil, which is very high vitamin E content, also works very well for regrowing hair. But we're going back to the minerals, like taking the fulvic and humanic minerals and the proteins so that your hair can start building up again in a healthy way. But I had so much trauma postpartum that I actually see all of this here after my son was born. Like you can't really see, you see how long it is now, but after my son was born, all of this came out. I had like this big patch here, like this big bald patch, and I had a lot of thinning underneath because of I went through postpartum with him still, because he was born in January, so still very deep in COVID. And nothing triggers us very often as much as women as hair. It's like there's very deep connection to our power, but also to our feelings of being beautiful. And just making sure that I increased instead of taking 1 cup of fulvic minerals a day, I started taking 3. I started doing my scalp massage. I proactively started meditating again to reduce stress, and it started growing back again. In less than 3 or 4 months, I already had hair, and proper longish hair in the area, like fringe length, and then it started growing back down. But hair does grow back, and I've had women in their 20s who have their hair falling out just because of stress. So can we just open up the genes for hair growth and close the genes? There we go. For hair loss, and just balance those testosterone levels anywhere where you're relying on your masculine energy instead of your divine masculine. There we go. Me too now, but in pregnancy I had amazing hair and long, but yeah, during pregnancy it was amazing. It's the stress of after. Facebook is this isn't about menopause or female health. Okay. But what can I do to help my left eye? A vessel popped and it hurts. I need to check it out, but appointments are full. Is it just stress? Um, it's strain. So what you don't realize is that your eyes are surrounded by muscles, really strong, tight muscles, and some of those are actually inside your jaw. And when you spend all day, like we're doing right now, staring at a computer screen, you're only using specific muscles. So if you can imagine you take a nice heavy box and you stand there all day holding this box, how much your arms would hurt. That's what happens when you spend all day with your eyes in the same position. It's how much it hurts the muscles around your eyes and the tiny little muscles within your eyes. So I would look up some eye massage and some eye movements. You still need to go and get it checked by an optometrist or by a GP. I would, if it's all full, ask for an emergency appointment. This is not something that can just be left. And I would use like vitamin E oil and really start massaging gently around your eyes. But obviously, this needs to be checked. It cannot just be left. So if the appointments are full, you need to find somewhere else to get the medical help and advice that you need. Okay. Okay, ladies, I'm going to pull an angel card for us because I was just told to, and then we are going to do our closing prayer for our menopause day. If you want to join the menopause masterclass, there is still time to join. And I'm going to be going into depth into the beliefs, the downloads for each unique hormone, for each of the unique genes, the supplements, the hormone trackers, and all of that stuff. Okay. And there will be replay available so that if you're not able to make it at the time and place, you can still have access. Okay. Ooh. Open your heart to love. Oop. Not sure about this thing, but okay. I'm going to put it on me. There we go. Open your heart to love. The more you open your heart and pour your love into your creations, the greater their life force energy. So anywhere where you are withholding love from your project, from your creativity, from your business program, from your partner, from your home, because you're afraid to love, or you stop trusting yourself when you're betrayed by others, I want you to visualize the angels and creator pouring love into every area of your life now, pouring love into your career, into your courses, into your divine life purpose, pouring love into your partner, into your children, into your body, into the cleaning and the cooking and the tech and the laptop and the bank account and your hair and your endocrine system and the excess weight, pouring love into every place that you've been withholding love or love is absent. Ooh, there we go. Pouring love into your friendships, into your opportunities. Okay. Can you share the link I will share the link for the masterclass. And the last 2 videos challenges already have the link underneath it, but I will share the link. Don't worry. Okay. O great spirit, Father Sky, Mother Earth, the winds, the waters, my father, my mother, Atanaha, all that is. We thank you for our lives and we thank you for these good, good people. We thank you for all that we are and all that we are to become. We dedicate our time spent together and our relationships with one another to Him. We ask that our suffering be ended and our pain be lifted to the love and to the peace that lay beyond. Aho, Amen, Namaste. Okay, if you struggle with the link or you want it, whatever, just DM me and I will send it to you in a private message, okay? I love you all so much. See you tomorrow at the